They said it was just a rip current, that he went too far out, that even the strongest swimmers don't come back when the sea decides to take them. But there were no waves that day, no storms, no warnings. Chris had stepped into the ocean at 5:46 a.m. By 5:49, he was gone. The beach was empty except for a dog walker, who later told police. It was like he got pulled sideways, not down. Like the water didn't swallow him. Like it opened. They found no body. No footprints past the surf line. Just a phone, still recording. And a voice, not his, whispering in Icelandic. The world never heard about it. Because 24 hours later, Chris Hemsworth walked into a hotel lobby in Auckland, New Zealand. Smiling. Tanned. Dry. He had no idea what people were talking about. What disappearance? I flew in from Sydney yesterday, but flight records didn't show his name. The hotel didn't have a booking, and the clothes he wore were the same ones he had on when he entered the ocean, including a silver pendant. Only. Chris didn't wear jewelry. Never had. Liam confirmed it, not even at our weddings. He hated anything on his neck. But there it was, a smooth, ancient-looking coin with Norse runes etched in its center. Chris said he didn't remember where he got it, or how he got to New Zealand. He just said, I closed my eyes, and I was here. Then things started to bend. He began sentences and stopped halfway. Talked to people who weren't in the room. Once, during an interview, he looked into the camera and asked, Is he still watching? No one knew what he meant. When the host asked who, Chris blinked slowly and said, Never mind. You don't see him yet. The interview was pulled an hour after airing. The station never gave a reason. Liam tried to intervene. He flew out to meet Chris on set. They talked late into the night, just the two of them. No one knows what was said. But afterward, Liam checked himself into a private wellness clinic. He didn't speak publicly for 3 months. When asked by a reporter if he was okay, he replied, Have you ever shaken someone's hand and felt they weren't supposed to be in that skin? That's when the footage came out. A behind-the-scenes clip leaked by a crew member on a Marvel production. Chris is on break, drinking water, laughing with staff. Then he pauses, turns, walks into the shadows behind the trailer. The cam operator follows instinctively. Something feels off. And in the low light, the camera catches it. 2 Chris's. One, sipping water by the wall. The other, staring at him. They don't interact. They don't speak. But they both exist for exactly 13 seconds. Then the feed cuts. And the camera, like the memory of that moment, corrupts. The leak was dismissed as a deepfake. But experts noted something strange in the metadata. The timestamp was real. The footage had been shot on analog gear. Not digital. No filters. No overlays. If this is fake, one VFX expert wrote anonymously. I want to know what software renders real-time parallel identity overlap through analog tape. Chris didn't comment. He just kept working. Smiling. Training. Posting. But fans noticed something odd. In one of his recent Instagram photos, a gym mirror selfie, his reflection was turned slightly too far. The body faced forward. The reflection faced the door. 3 nights later, his assistant woke up to screaming. Chris was sleepwalking, sweating through his clothes, muttering in Icelandic again. But this time, he was writing something on the wall with a broken pen. Over and over. The original is cold. The original is cold. The original is cold. The studio silenced the story. They blamed it on overwork, stress, fatigue. Chris apologized in a video, calm and clear. Hey guys, I'm good. Just needed a break, some nature. We all get a little twisted now and then. He smiled. But viewers paused at second 033 of the video. His eyes flickered. For just a frame. Black. No iris. Just void. No one could replicate the glitch. The video still exists. But on every rewatch, the flicker never comes back. Only those who saw it the first time remember it. And some of them claim that, since then, they've started dreaming of ocean caves and whispering in a voice that's not their own. The original is cold. He wrote it again. This time, not on a wall, but on a window, fogged up from his breath. It was 4:13 a.m. Chris hadn't slept in 48 hours. Not because he couldn't. Because every time he did, he woke up somewhere else. One time in the middle of filming, he blacked out between takes. When he opened his eyes, he was barefoot in a forest. No phone. No crew. Just pine trees and snow. His watch said 1998. But the trees were humming. And in the distance, something was breathing. Slow. Rhythmic. Like it was counting down. He walked for hours until the air changed color. He stepped through a clearing. and found himself backstage on set, as if no time had passed. But his feet were muddy. His chest had scratches, and his shirt smelled like winter. That was the first displacement. The second was worse. He was at home, alone, making tea. Then he looked down, and his hands were shaking. Not from fear, but from misalignment. His fingers wouldn't close around the mug, like they didn't know what to do. He went to the mirror and saw it. His face was blurry, like a bad stream buffering in real life. He leaned in, and the blur snapped into place. But it wasn't his face. It was younger, fresher, Thor-era Chris, and it was smiling on its own. He screamed, hit the mirror. It didn't shatter. Instead, the reflection stopped smiling and whispered, I'm stronger than you think. After that, Chris stopped sleeping. He had blood tests done in secret, DNA swabs, scans. One doctor, who later vanished from public records, said, you have regenerative markers that don't exist in baseline human data. Something about you is repeating on the molecular level. Repeating what? Chris asked. I don't know. But whatever it isn't done. The dreams got worse. He wasn't just seeing things anymore. He was hearing full conversations between versions of himself, fighting, begging, accusing. Once, he woke up with a torn piece of paper clenched in his hand. It was burned at the edges, written in his handwriting, but shaky, like underwater. He won't give it back. I wasn't supposed to wake up in this one. Then came the public slip. Live interview. BBC. Harmless questions. Then the host asks, what's next for you, Chris? He pauses, smiles, but the smile goes too wide, too flat, and he says, filming. He coughs, tries to laugh it off, but the moment is clipped, shared, analyzed, and slowed down. In one frame, right before he speaks, his eyes aren't looking at the host. They're looking to the left, at someone standing just off camera. But the angle makes it clear. No one's there. Later, a member of the lighting crew anonymously posts a thread. I saw two men enter the green room. Only one walked out. But they were both him. One was shaking. The other said, it's not your timeline anymore. Chris's team locked down all public appearances. He disappeared from social media. Then silence. 2 weeks. Until a package arrived at a news outlet in Melbourne. Inside, a VHS tape, a key, a photograph. The photo was of a beach. His childhood beach. Empty, except for 2 boys in the distance. One was clearly Chris. The other looked like him, but thinner, and watching him from behind. The tape? Static. Then sound. A voice. Flat. Hollow. This version can't hold. Too much memory. Too many people watching. Then a new voice. Identical, but deeper. We only need one of him. Let the others fade. Back at home, Chris wakes up to find someone has written on his wall again. Not with ink. Not with steam. But carved. Into the plaster. Choose. Or be chosen. The hallucinations didn't start immediately. They came slowly, like fog. Soft at first, then suffocating. Chris began drawing in his sleep. Journal pages filled with circles. Spirals that resembled sonar maps. And faces, his own, but deformed. Stretched. Crying. One mouth wide open, screaming into ink. He didn't remember making them. He said, it feels like someone else is trying to leave a trail. Like they want me to know I'm not the only version left. On set, crew members reported strange electrical issues around him. Cameras shorted. Microphones hissed. Once, during a nighttime scene, all the lights died, and for 12 full seconds, no one moved. Not because they couldn't, because they all swore they heard breathing. Right behind them, from the direction of the ocean. Miles away. One night, Chris stayed behind after everyone left. Security footage later showed him walking barefoot across the studio lot. Shirtless. Silent. He entered stage 6, closed for repairs. No one followed. But in the morning, workers found something burned into the center of the stage floor. I remember the body, but not the soul. Written in ash. No fuel source. No ignition. Just smoke. And one bare footprint in the dust, smaller than Chris's. Liam returned again. He begged his brother to see someone, anyone. Chris refused. I don't think I'm sick, Liam. I think I'm layered. What the hell does that mean? Chris leaned closer. There are people walking around inside me. One of them thinks he's God. The other wants out. Out of what? Out of me. 2 weeks later, Liam posted a photo to his private account. Deleted in under 20 minutes. But not before someone screen captured it. The photo. Chris sitting cross-legged in a circle of mirrors. All reflections were distorted, except one. In the far left mirror, Chris is smiling, but only in that reflection. And his teeth are black. Things escalated. Chris collapsed mid-scene during a sci-fi project. He woke up with no memory of the day, but he spoke perfect Finnish in the ambulance. No one had ever heard him speak it before. When asked how he knew it, he responded. He needed to talk. By then, producers were whispering. Insurance issues. Mental breaks. AI replacement models. Someone even floated the idea of digital duplication, scanning Chris's face, voice, and mannerisms to complete the film without needing him to be there. But when a team tested the AI mock-up, it crashed. Hard. Every time the likeness spoke, it generated a new log file named realone_returning. And the system refused to overwrite it. Even after deletion, the studio shut the project down. But the logs kept appearing on other servers, in unrelated folders, on backup drives. Always the same message. Always the same timestamp. 3:33 a.m. The exact moment Chris was born. He started to disappear in mirrors. Not always. Just sometimes. Photographs taken in the last 3 months showed inconsistencies. One fan noticed it first. A meet and greet in Sydney. They stood beside Chris, smiled, took a selfie. But when they looked at the photo, only the fan was visible. The space beside them? Empty. A faint distortion. Like he'd off asphalt. Then the dream spread. His assistant, his trainer, his dialect coach, all began reporting the same nightmare. Standing in waist-high water, unable to move, while a second Chris floated toward them, eyes open, mouth closed, whispering from inside his lungs. Help him remember. Before the sea takes him again. And finally, it happened. During a charity event in London, Chris walked off stage mid-sentence. He didn't come back. Security reviewed the footage. He stepped through a curtain and vanished from camera range for 0.8 seconds. That's all. Less than a full blink. But when he reappeared, something was off. Same suit. Same smile. But people described a wrongness. An emptiness behind the charm. One attendee claimed. It felt like a person pretending to be Chris pretending to be Chris. Later that night, Liam received a message on his old flip phone. A number no longer active. It said, he's stuck in the under. The wrong one made it out. Find the coin. Attached, a photo. A blurry, wet Polaroid. Chris, or something like him, standing alone in shallow water. Face turned up to the sky. Mouth open in a scream that didn't make sound. September 6, 2025, 1932. 3 nights after the London incident, the mirrors in Chris's house shattered. All of them. At exactly the same time. Security footage caught nothing. Until the very last frame before the blackout. A hand. Not his. Not anyone's. Thin, bone white, reaching through the bathroom mirror, palm flat against the inside of the glass. The angle made no physical sense. It came from behind the reflection. Then, static. Power outage. And when the lights came back on, the mirrors weren't cracked. They were gone. Just empty frames. With nothing behind them. Chris disappeared from public view. No posts. No sightings. No interviews. Liam filed a missing persons report that was later retracted. When asked why, he said, because they said he was home. But it's not him. Meanwhile, messages began appearing. Not online, but physically on receipts, on the inside of coffee cup sleeves, written in fine pencil on the edges of hotel Bibles. Short phrases. Always the same hand. He woke up in the under. We swam through time. He broke the order. Some memories aren't yours to hold. The copy is closer. The word copy began appearing in articles, always quickly edited or removed. In an old interview transcript from 2012, one archived version suddenly included the sentence, Chris has always been a strong copy. The interviewer denied ever writing it. A private investigator, hired by a former assistant, went looking. He visited Chris's childhood town, interviewed neighbors, searched school archives. Then he vanished. His laptop was recovered 3 weeks later, dropped off anonymously in a Manila airport locker. It contained one video file, 7 seconds long. The camera faces a mirror. Behind the mirror is a body, barely visible, floating in green fluid. The face? Chris, but asleep, mouth open, eyes fluttering, a faint sound playing on loop. Do not return if the real one dreams. And then Chris came back. He showed up on a podcast. No announcement, no promotion. Just walked in, sat down, and smiled. But the host, who'd known Chris for years, said nothing felt right. His voice was flat. His jokes were too clean. And when the host asked about the time off, Chris replied, "I was away, but I brought something back." He tapped the table, looked directly at the camera, and said, "You'll feel it soon." That clip was pulled within the hour, but thousands had already seen it. And over the next few days, a pattern emerged. Those who watched it, they started dreaming of an empty version of their homes. No sound, no reflections, no clocks, and in the distance, always, the sound of someone breathing underwater. One woman claimed she woke up with sea salt on her hands. Another man swore his bedroom was filled with fog. But no matter what they dreamed, one thing stayed the same. At some point in the dream, they turned a corner and saw Chris, standing, smiling, wearing a silver coin around his neck. And every time, he whispered the same thing. "One of us is going to stay, but I don't know which one I am anymore." It happened in Iceland. A project kept under wraps. No press, no trailers, no name. Only a working title stamped on every call sheet. The Mirror Archive. Chris arrived alone. No assistant. No entourage. Locals said he walked everywhere. They say he never blinked. And every day, at exactly 2:11 a.m., he'd walk barefoot across the moss fields toward the edge of a black crater lake. And just stand there, staring into nothing. When the crew finally arrived, something felt wrong. Every mirror on set refused to reflect. One producer broke down, screaming, "There's no center in him. He's hollow. He's pretending to be filled." Another refused to say his name aloud, only whispered, "He's between." The film was never completed. Cameras failed. Every attempt at recording generated corrupted footage, except for one short reel. It shows Chris sitting alone on the shore of the lake, speaking to someone off-screen. He says, "The original stayed underwater. He chose to drown in silence. That silence became shape. Now I speak with borrowed lungs." Then he leans forward, grinning like he just understood something awful, and adds, "But I think he's waking up." That night, a storm rolled in. The crater lake boiled. Locals say lightning struck the same place 3 times. And in the morning, Chris was gone. His trailer, untouched. The silver coin left neatly on the pillow and carved into the floor. The body remembers, even if the mind resets. 2 weeks later, Liam received a package. No sender. Inside, a thumb drive. A note. The note said, "You asked what Mom's name was. You never used to forget. But maybe now you do. Maybe I'm the one who doesn't forget anymore." The drive contained a voice memo. Just Chris, breathing, then speaking calmly. "If you see me again, ask me what year I graduated." The real one will hesitate. And now he's back again. Chris, in the public eye, doing interviews, smiling on carpets, promoting films. But he never wears the coin. And when asked about Iceland, he laughs. That one was strange. Barely remember it. Dream shoot. Some say he's sharper now, more focused, even kinder. But those closest to him, the ones who remember the sea salt, the mirrors, the dreams, they watch his smile too long. Because sometimes, just for a second, it twitches wrong, like a mask remembering how to stretch. One fan caught it on camera. She posted a frame-by-frame analysis on Reddit. Slowed to 1/160th speed. Right as Chris turns toward the crowd, waving. You can see it. His shadow moves half a second after his body. And when he blinks, his reflection doesn't.